Hey, all you tough mothers out there. I have a very special guest today who is near and dear to my heart, Karen Logan, not just my own personal friend and firearms trainer, but Karen is the CEO and founder of Guardian Training and Consulting. She was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and she followed in her father's footsteps into the Chicago Police Department. She worked patrol and the Marine Unit Harbor Patrol for a total of 10 years before eventually moving on to join the ranks of the Federal Air Marshal Service. There, she flew a total of 1.9 million miles. That is a lot of miles for you people that aren't super familiar with how you fly around the world, as well as earning certifications as a firearms instructor, fitness coordinator, defensive tactics instructor, IDC, which is Instructor Development Program, and Reid and Associates Behavioral Recognition, Reid interview techniques of interview and interrogation. Since leaving law enforcement, she has continued her passion for teaching through her company with her husband, and also serving as an NRA certified firearms and refuse to be a victim instructor by providing lessons learned over decades of training and experiences to clients all backgrounds. She believes wholeheartedly in collaborative learning. Her vast knowledge and experience of firearms, tactics, and law is available to anyone willing to learn. Karen desires to be an ambassador to all women and men who have aspirations of owning their first firearm and or who want to learn more about the safe handling, carrying, and advanced tactics of shooting. You can find her on the web at gtctrain.org or on Facebook and Instagram. Karen, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I can't wait to introduce you to everybody.
Yay. I'm so happy that I'm finally able to sit with you. This is so awesome. We haven't seen each other in a while, so this is
Too
good.
long.
Yeah, we'll have to get together soon.
Yeah, honestly, you are one of my favorite people, you and Josh, and I have been so excited to have you on the show because you guys were kind of the whole reason I got so passionate about shooting. I know that it was something that I was interested in. And so I reached out to a friend and said, who do you know that are the best trainers in my area? And he recommended you guys, and you and I had our first class like 2 years ago, something
Oh,
like
it's been
that.
that long?
I think so.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I was super nervous, and you just made it all so easy and accessible and fun. And I just developed like this amazing passion for shooting. And I just wanted to introduce you to everybody and have you share your wisdom.
That's awesome. When I think back about that day that we got the call from our friend Mike, and he said, I have a really good friend of mine that she's been shooting. She just bought a gun. She's having a little bit of an issue. It wasn't much. You were an amazing shot, but I could tell you were a little bit of a perfectionist and there was something that just wasn't right. And I love that because as a firearm instructor for the Air Marshal Service, our job wasn't really to teach. It was just to qualify everybody. But if somebody kind of picked up a bad habit, it was our job to, zero in and diagnose and figure out what it is that this person is not doing right. And so there's so many factors. And I was so excited to see, what it was that it was a very minor thing that we fixed. I think you had a little bit too much finger in the trigger. And it took me a little bit to figure that out because Mike was saying she's a good shot. She's got her own gun. She's been going to the range. And I was like, I wonder what it's going to be. And it took me a while to figure it out. When I finally did, I think you were just like, oh my gosh, I've been asking so many people and nobody could figure it out. And that was such a great moment. And that it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes we need to meet with our students, a few private lessons later, because sometimes they don't know what they don't know either. And they're just there to learn. And so we just have to sit with them and let them shoot and then just see how they feel after a few rounds. And so that was a great example of what we kind of are falling in love with doing at this time. We have a lot of our clients that are returning, but we're getting the feeling now that everyone's talking to each other and they're making the call to say, hey, I've been shooting my whole life, but I really need to learn from a professional. And, you know, we specialize in private lessons, like concierge based. And we talk about this all the time. It's like kind of equivalent to, you want to go to the gym, right? So do you go to a Zumba class, or do you go to like an Anytime Fitness or any of those big chain gyms, or do you hire a private trainer, a personal trainer? And that's exactly what we're doing with the firearm industry. Josh and I both started working at a gun range together, and we were teaching big classes, 10, 20, sometimes 30 people in a class. And that was great. But I knew I wanted to spend more time with people, and I couldn't. And I knew back then that I wanted to do something different, or something bigger, better, more. So that's how Guardian started. And I think you were one of our very first clients, and that kind of set the tone. So it's like figuring out like a
Sorry.
puzzle. No, it's good. It's like I said, it's almost like a challenge now. You know, it's like figuring out a puzzle, or figuring out, you know, it's a problem solving, really is what it is. So
Yeah, you guys
I'm,
kind of like diagnose people. Like,
yeah, that's really what it is. And it's so interesting because every set of clients is so different. And I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, we had two 2-hour lessons back to back. And the first set was just two friends, two female friends, and they both have had their own guns. They both have been shooting for a really long time. And they were more concerned with loading magazines, or doing like a reload. And then how do you come out from a holster, or how do I carry? And so it was more about a concealed carry. And then one of the ladies, I think she had her husband's gun, and she was trying to figure out which one she should buy. And that's always a big question for us too, because if you just go to a range or go to a gun store, I think what happens is sometimes you'll get someone who just works behind the counter, and they don't really know what it's like for a female to carry a gun. And so it's always good to sit with our female clients and really just, it's like getting in and asking them, okay, what is it that you want? Tell me what you want out of this 2 hours. And that's what we love about it, is it's every lesson is completely different than the next. And then the second couple was a husband and wife. They already bought their guns. It was cute. They had like a Glock 19X and a Glock 43. So one was smaller than the other. And I assumed that the bigger gun was the husband's and the smaller gun was for his wife. And they said, nope, these are ours. It's, you know, it's community property. And we were laughing, saying, this is great, you know, because they're just having fun with it, you know, and it wasn't so serious, where they're like, you know, we feel like we need to carry a gun with all the civil unrest and all the craziness that's going on in the world. They were just like, no, this is like a hobby, and we want to buy more. So every situation is different. And so that's why we absolutely love what we're doing. There's no set schedule. There's no set curriculum. It's not canned. It's not always the same thing. And that keeps it fun and interesting. So
that's really cool. And yeah, actually, I think so. When you and I met, I had chosen a gun, and I thought I wanted a CZP-10C. But it was tearing the crap out of my palm because it's so rough. And you actually helped me find my SIG that fit me and just like felt better in my hand. And it was just, that was so helpful, because it was just, you know, like the angle of like my fingers and how they gripped, and like actually being able to form like a tight bond around the grip was I had no idea. I figured all grips are the same, and you kind of helped me figure out the right gun for me.
Right. Yeah. And that's another thing. It's, you know, what feels comfortable in your hand. And the other fallacy is, woman will go to the gun store and the salesperson will say, oh, well, you should get a smaller one because you're kind of petite. And they're just assuming, you know. And the smallest gun that I ever had was a SIG 938, I think it was. It was a 9mm, and it was really um, just uncomfortable to shoot. And that was the only one that I could carry off duty as an air marshal. So depending on who you work for, if you're still in law enforcement or military or government agency, they'll give you a list of guns that you can carry off duty, and it's usually of the same family. So we carried a SIG while we were working, and then off duty it was a smaller concealed carry gun. And after I got retired, I realized I hate shooting this thing. I just don't like it. And I think that's what happens with women if they have smaller guns. They're like, why did I choose this one? And so we try to catch that before they buy. And if they already bought, we tell them it's okay. Let's try a few different guns. Josh and I always bring our guns to the range. We're a Glock family. We do have some SIGs, and we'll just have them shoot our guns. And I think our clients really appreciate that. That we're really trying to help them. It's not, we have no agenda. We don't get any kickbacks. It's really truly all about helping people, because we understand that there's a lack of knowledge out there. We understand that it's very cumbersome. We understand that it's, a lot of myths out there, and there's a lot of misinformation, and people just don't know where to go. It's like going to buy a car. It's like, are they just trying to sell me this car because it's a special of the month, or they get kickbacks? And
an old age unit, that's why they're trying to sell it to you.
Right. Yeah. So too many in the inventory. And so, we're just all about, being full of integrity and full of truth and honesty. And it's not about any hidden agendas. It's literally just about helping people, because I think for both Josh and I can speak for Josh too, being in law enforcement, it's kind of a thankless, it's a little bit of a thankless job, and people just don't think of all that goes into it. And, the hours that go into answering calls and protecting the public and protecting people. I felt that a lot of times it just was like, no one cares. And now I've transitioned to this world where people are like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for helping me. And then they're telling their friends, and it's starting to spread, and we feel it. We feel the love from all of our clients and our friends. And it's a great feeling now that we started our own company and we actually can work for ourselves. And it's very fulfilling. So it's been great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of trepidation and fear for people that are coming into shooting world. Cause once you get into it, there's terminology, there's lingo, there's things that people use that are just second nature. And you kind of forget that to the uninitiated, it sounds like gobbledygook. Like you just don't really, what are you talking about? I don't understand, but they don't want to say it and they don't want to sound stupid. And I kind of had that when I first met you. And you didn't do that. You just broke it down super simple for me. And that was a huge relief, because I was like, oh, thank God. I already feel stupid being here because I don't know anything. And you are a badass. And I just didn't really know what to expect, and to make me feel so comfortable with it. And then now, I get it. I understand what people are saying. I kind of have a general idea of what different guns are and different types and ammo. But the one thing that I knew when choosing a firearm was back in high school. And that was a long time ago. I had a physics teacher who was the only more on the right instructor that I had. I grew up in a pretty liberal, California town. And in his class, he had guns and ammo, and he was an ex-cop that taught physics. And so he was a little bit different than all the other teachers. And one thing that he told us that and he used it as a demonstration, was that, he was talking about equal and opposite forces, with inertia. And he's like, if you got a 10 millimeter or 9mm bullet and a tiny, tiny little gun, all that energy is going to not get absorbed by the gun. It's going to go right into your hand. And so you've got these 95-pound women who've got a 9mm or a 45, and it's this tiny little thing. He's like, it's going to take your finger off. I don't know why they make these guns. They're not for women. It's meant for big man hands that can handle that go in a cowboy boot or something, not like some 95-pound soaking wet soccer mom. Like, that's just not how it works. And like, for whatever reason, that it stuck with me. So I knew I didn't want a small gun because I mean, I have man hands, but like I feel the impact. So I really appreciate like the weight of my SIG. And,
Right.
I do need something for concealed carry because trying to hide a full size SIG on a female body is not super easy. But,
Right.
like
Right.
I don't like the smaller guns. Like I think, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's so much, like I was saying before, there's so much that goes into it. It's, do you wear yoga pants most of the time? Are you just running to the store? What are you doing during the day? Do you want it in a bag? And, there's a lot of people will say, we might have some critics that would say, during the podcast might say, well, why would you carry it in a bag? Well, I don't always have, I might be wearing, biker shorts or just a t-shirt, and I would rather have it with me and not need it than need it and not have it because I didn't want to, stick it in my shorts, or I'm not wearing a big enough shirt. And like you mentioned in the intro, I flew 1.9 million miles around the world concealing a gun. Like, my closet of clothes that I had back then were all big and baggy, and that was no fun either. It's not like you want to walk around in skimpy clothes, but I just felt like now that I don't have to wear it on me and cover it up, and I've got, if anybody ever has any questions about that after the podcast gets released, I've got so many holsters that I've tried over the years. And when we go to our lessons, we bring our Pelican case and it's full of everything because it'll inevitably come up. Well, how you carry and how do you know? And it takes a while to figure it out. I mean, I think it took me like 3 months to get comfortable wearing it. And you just don't know until you try it. And the whole bottom line is I would just rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And it's not about, well, how can you, how, if someone sticks a gun in your face, you can't outdraw a drawn gun. And I get that argument too, because that's all I did in my training. It's not about that. It's about getting stuck maybe in a grocery store and you hear shots ring out. It's not about outdrawing a drawn gun. It's about having it in case I get stuck in a corner somewhere. I'm not going to be a sitting duck.
Yeah. You can't draw a gun that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and sometimes I'll run out to the store and I won't have it with me. And I think, this Murphy's he's an SOB. And yeah, it's like, is that going to happen? Could it happen? What are the odds? I mean, we could talk about statistics. What are the odds that I'll ever have to draw my gun? Thank God, hopefully not. I don't want to be in a self-defense shooting. I don't think anybody really does. But I also am not going to be a victim where otherwise I could defend myself. So yeah, it comes down to, am I trying to be a hero? Is anyone trying to save the day? And, do I want to save somebody that I don't even know? It's not about that. It's about defeating evil or taking that person, the bad guy's power away. If they think they're going to just go on a rampage and shoot people just to shoot people, well, we're going to be there hopefully to take that shot. I don't know. We talk about this in our class. It's like trying to figure out the lotto numbers, right? It's,
yeah.
People want like black and white answers, and it's a lot of gray area. And I don't know what I would ever be encountered with, but I can tell you I've had all the scenarios play out in my mind. Have I hit every scenario in my mind? I don't know. Maybe not. But that's more than half the battle. And I talk about some books that I've read over the years. One of them is called The Gift of Fear, and it's written by Gavin DeBecker. And it's an amazing book. It absolutely changed my life. And if anyone's looking for a good read, that's a really great book to start off on. And it kind of gets you in the mindset of, oh, not everyone's friendly in this world. There are people out there that really just don't care. And there's a lot going on in the world now. There's a lot of like mental illness. There's a lot of angst, anxiety, and people just saying that they don't care. And so it's scary. So we're not trying to scare people or fearmonger. We're just trying to prepare people to say, look, be ready to defend your family.
Right.
You don't have to sacrifice your life. You don't have to be a self-proclaimed pacifist and just say, well, if it's my time, it's my time. There are a lot of people out there that really feel that way.
Yeah,
I was
they
never,
do. And
I
it's
was
not for
never one of them.
everybody, but it's, like you
Right.
said, I'd rather have and not need than need and not have. And there are times where, I take 3 solo trips a year where I go out into the middle of nowhere by myself and I'll
Hmm.
camp or I'll fish or I'll do something and there's no cell reception. And probably not the wisest thing to do as a woman,
Yeah.
but I am armed when I go. So I know, like, if I can just protect myself, like, when I go out, like if I'm, hiking or whatever, I just have, like, my holster on the side. I don't care about concealing it, because part of it is like, yeah, I want you to know that I'm armed.
Right.
Maybe you'll just decide not for me. Or, I just saw a video of, like, a guy who had to, like, shoot a mountain lion that lunged at him. Like, so there's those
Right.
situations. And then there's other situations where I'm with my son or I'm driving, with him alone, and let's say my car breaks down and I'm on the side of the road and somebody with ill intent comes, or I have been followed home at night.
Right.
Like when I was, younger and living by myself, I literally got followed home by this car with multiple people in it. And I made, like, 4 right turns and I went all these different places to make sure they were following me, and they were following me. And at the time I was not armed. And that was a really scary place to be. Not that I ever want to shoot somebody, but I
Right.
didn't have, like, I didn't have a cell phone at the time. This was a couple of years ago, a while
Right.
back. So I just drove to a friend's house that I knew had guns, and I was, like, banging on the door, like, these guys
Oh
are
my
following
gosh.
me. But,
Yeah.
I would rather be prepared. And even if that means, like, I know, my gun's in my purse, it's not on me, like, it's like a little, like, side pocket. I'll have my hand on the gun, like, in my
Right.
purse. Like, if somebody's coming up behind me in a parking lot or something like that, just so I'm ready and having, like, that situational awareness. But if you don't have a gun, if you don't have it on you, if you don't have the training, it's like, well, he takes your chances, I guess. Doesn't seem like a
Right.
fair fight.
Right. And I think, again, there's so many factors that play into it, and you can only prepare so much. But I think for the most part, for anyone that's intent to do harm, they're waiting for an opportunity. So, for as much as we say, being prior law enforcement and that we're always aware of our surroundings, right? Other times when I do let my guard down and I'm not paying attention, could I get caught off guard? Absolutely. But an opportunist or someone who's looking to steal a purse or kidnap you and stuff you in a trunk and rape and kill you, they're looking for the perfect victim. And if you carry yourself in a way that, and maybe it's my bag, I put a bag over and I sling a bag over my shoulder. Most of the time I have my gun with me. So, is letting that information out, a detriment to me? Could someone say, well, that's stupid. Now someone's just going to grab your purse and run. Well, so if they do that, okay, it's my property and it's gone. Is that a shame? And some people might be like, well, screw that. They're not going to get my purse. Well, I'm also don't want to die over the contents of my purse.
Right. There's
So,
nothing in there worth
right,
anybody's life.
right. And it's the same thing for your home. We talk about all of this stuff in our concealed carry class. A lot of people think, well, someone comes into my house, they're getting shot. And we say, okay, stop. Let's think about this. What if it's your neighbor and you live in a cookie cutter neighborhood where we see those a lot in the suburbs or in places like no offense to Gilbert, Illinois, or sorry, Gilbert, Arizona. I'm from Illinois originally. um, Gilbert, Arizona, where a lot of the subdivisions, it's the same, it's like maybe 5 or 6 models of the homes, right? So they repeat after so
Right.
many. What if it's your drunk next door neighbor and he thinks he's going into his house and he stumbles into your living room, you left your door unlocked or whatever? You gonna shoot that guy? We talk about the aftermath. Like
Right.
everyone has these fallacies, like, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot him," and you're in my house. We have to think about that because that gives gun owners, a bad name, and it gives gun owners like a bad image of people who are anti-gun or don't want guns in their house think you're a danger to society, and you're not. You have to be educated about it, and that's what Josh and I are doing. We're just a dozen at a time. We're just trying to get everyone on the same page, because you never know. We could need help one day, and it could be one of our students driving by saying, "Hey, I was taught really well, and this is give commands and all of those things." So, going back to what you're saying about opportunists, yeah, you have to carry yourself with that confidence. And I think it comes with the training, right? A lot of people are buying guns now and they're just like, but I have no idea. Like when we heard about all the stats, like the millions of guns being sold, we were like, oh my gosh, like these people everyone needs training, just basic safety to
Right.
begin with, let alone, you know, how to shoot accurately and how to hold it accurately and what ammo to buy. A lot of people don't even know the difference between range ammo or target ammo and self-defense ammo. There's two
Right.
different kinds, and we find that a lot. And so, like I was saying, a dozen at a time, we're just trying to educate as many people as possible, because it makes us feel good that we're actually doing something positive in a sometimes negative light, right?
Yeah.
Society is like torn with.
It's like with anything, right? Like with a car,
Yeah.
you can maim a lot of people if you're doing stupid things with a car. That's why you get trained in a car and you have a license and
Right.
you practice safety. And it's like these people are buying guns and they're not giving it even the same respect
Exactly.
that a vehicle has. Like, there was recently, wasn't there a mother in Phoenix who got shot by her 5-year-old?
Her 5-year-old, yeah, and I think she was on a Zoom call, I think, and it all happened, like, on video, I think. I
I
did
think
hear about
that's,
it.
yeah, they like, where they heard the noise or whatever. And it's like,
Right,
why was your gun left alone unattended with the 5-year-old in the house? Why wasn't your 5-year-old trained not to touch the gun? Why was it chambered?
right.
Like, there's so
So many
many, like,
questions.
you know, it blows my mind. Like, I was so
Right,
careful with my son, just like, you don't touch it. If you see it, just tell an adult, like, don't play with it. It's not a toy. This is very serious. Even then, like, and there's guns with safeties and all that. And I know this is probably not best practice, but when the gun's in my house around my son, it's in a safe. If it's not chambered. There's no way he could physically rack it and chamber
right,
that gun. But like, I have so many different layers and it just boggles my mind that, like, people could be so careless, which is why it's so important to get training and to, like, understand and respect the safety, the safety parameters that you need to have a gun in your house. And you and Josh, you go to people's houses and talk to their kids about guns, right? Like, I think you guys have done
right.
that in the past, which
Yeah,
is
so that's one of the things we've done in the past, and it's funny because we have, again, every client base is so different, every class is so different, and we'll do family firearm safety classes, and we did one in Buckeye just recently, and mom and dad and their two kids, and then I think it was her mom, because the mom and her mom were from California. And again, nothing, I'm not trying to get political, but nothing against California, but they had the mindset that they didn't want, and they live in Arizona now, in Buckeye. They didn't want guns in the house, and she just didn't want to deal with it. She said, my kid, I will never have guns in the house. Well, dad is originally from Iowa, and he was a hunter growing up. So he was around guns, but he respected his wife's decision to not have guns in the house. But now they live in Arizona, and now their kids are of age where they're playing with the kids down the street. And guess who has guns in the house? Almost every other house in Arizona, right?
right.
So now she's thinking, well, now I have to deal with it. And I'd rather deal with it and get trained rather than, like most of the things we talk about in our classes is, yeah, you've heard this, you think this is what you think you're going to do, but let's talk about it, and then let's think about what you're going to do afterwards if it doesn't go so well. And these are the things that can go wrong, and what you should do, what you shouldn't do, why you should do things and not do things, and how do you prevent from sitting there going, I wish I would have gotten trained, or I wish I would have known this before, and I should have taken a class. So the family firearm safety class that we did was at the kitchen table, and we brought all of our guns out. We talked about the rules that we have in our house, but our 8-year-old, she's a girl. She doesn't really care about guns, but in your case, you've got a boy. Boys are different. I'm not a professional, but I can tell you that most boys, and every parent knows their kids, that that if your child is, always pressing the issue or testing the waters, you have to be careful. You have to put that extra layer. And I think that going back to our family firearm safety class, the mom was like, I feel so much better knowing everything that you guys just told us. We feel so much better. And it's all about just having a conversation with the parents down the street. What are your rules? Are they locked? Are they in a safe? Do you have ammo? Where are they? How often are the kids there? Do they have sleepovers? And so it's just about having a conversation and education. That's really what it comes down to. And respect. You mentioned that. You have to respect them just like a vehicle. You're not going to give a 10-year-old the keys to the car and say, go to the store.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it. So we should treat it the same.
Absolutely. It seems like common sense, but apparently it's not. So I think, but I honestly think like taking the fear out of like getting training and like, destigmatizing it, like, oh, I'm going to feel dumb or like there's stupid questions. It's like, no, what's dumb is an accident happening because you were too afraid of looking dumb to get trained. What's dumb is allowing your kids to be, in a vulnerable situation, or you be unprepared because you're unwilling to invest a little bit in your training like that. It's just crucial. Like you wouldn't drive a car without training. You wouldn't fly a plane without training. You wouldn't jump off a building with a parachute without training. But a gun is, infinitely
and just
more,
hope for the best.
Right. Yeah. It's infinitely more instantly deadly. So it needs to be respected and treated as such. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, not just for like individuals, but in courses and just from like beginning all the way to advanced, and the training kids and families and like how that like protect themselves with gun safety rules is huge. So thank you. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me and giving me a chance to kind of share our message with your audience. We love what you're doing. We think it's awesome. We watch your shows all the time. So we're very happy for you. And we're so happy that we could be a part of it.
Oh, I'm so excited that you guys are on. And I know you guys have lots of training that are coming up, and I missed the last one and I'm so sad about it. But to be fair, I was a little broken. Like my finger, like literally like would do this like that. Yeah. That's all it would do. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Yeah. You're a little banged up, but we're going to have more now that the weather has broken. It's getting a little bit cooler. We're going to have some more classes coming up, and I want to get with you and talk about some, marketing ideas for women's classes, and, maybe glamping or something that we can do like an overnight, like a, kind of an outing thing.
That would be
so
amazing.
We have a lot of ideas in the works, and over the next few months, I think some of that stuff's going to start coming to fruition. So keep an eye out on our Facebook page and our website. We're going to start pumping out some more information soon.
Awesome. So excited. Yeah, I will definitely be sharing all that information with our listeners, and I'll have it on the show notes page for you guys that are listening. Karen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you sooner than later, now that I'm kind of like in town and not, too crippled.
Yes, for sure. Let's get together soon. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks. And moms, you hear it. Go out there, get trained, reach out to Karen if you've got questions. If you're in the Phoenix area or have the ability to get to the Phoenix area, I highly recommend Guardian Training and Consulting. They are top-notch trainers with a big heart, and will absolutely be able to help you from beginning all the way to advanced and make you feel supported and not uncomfortable through the entire process. So get out there, get trained, and be not afraid. Great job. You made it to the end. You are one tough mother. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to support the work that we do and keep the good loving coming, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening. What's that? You're one of those crazy mother followers that wants more of this nonsense? You got it. Subscribe to the Moms Love Guns YouTube channel. Follow us at Moms Love Guns on Instagram and join our free private Facebook group to connect with other women just like you in an encouraging and non-judgmental community. If you want to share even more love, share your new favorite community with a friend or all of your friends, maybe even a few enemies, just to be safe. Get out there, overcome your fears, be not afraid. You have got this.